Thank you, Lauren. Good morning. Oh, I don't think the party last night was that crazy, right? I think we can do much better. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. I would like to personally extend my welcome to all of you. It's great to see so many people here at this conference. And it is truly wonderful that I've seen a lot of faces that I actually recognize, met many of you over the last 16 to 18 months. But I also see many who I've never met before. And I'm looking forward to the next couple of days and meeting hopefully every one of you somewhere along the way, either at a dinner or at one of the booths or just wandering down the hallway with Progress Next badges on, right? So welcome. My mission this morning, my goal this morning is very straightforward, right? My job for the next hour is to share with you what is Progress's mission, how the world that is dramatically changing around us is influencing what we do to help fulfill that mission and then help you succeed in what you do. Instead of talking a lot, I'm actually going to try to show you some of the products that we have available today that can help with your success. And not only that, I would like to also bring up customers along the way who can share what they are doing with their products to make themselves and their businesses and their organizations a great success. So let's get started. What is our mission? Our mission is very simply to provide the best platform for building and deploying strategic business applications and digital experiences. Now this is a very interesting thing. I think for those of you who've been around Progress for as long as Progress has been, we're a 36-plus-year-old company, this has always been our mission. Our mission always has been to help people like you build strategic mission-critical business applications. We didn't talk much about digital experiences previously because they weren't that critical, but they are now becoming and have become a critical part of what we do for business. So that is what our mission has been. That is what is in our DNA. If you talk to somebody at Progress, you'll hear that's what we do. And that's what we will continue to do. Right? But while we continue to do that, how we go about doing it, the problems that we have to address continue to change. I remember a story from about 100 years ago. Somebody told this to me. I'm not that old. Professor Einstein was giving an exam, final exam, and one of his graduate students looked at it and said, "Professor Einstein, this is not fair." And he said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, these are the same questions you gave out last year." He goes, "People will know the answer. I said, "But you don't realize," Professor Einstein replied, "the questions may be the same, but the answers this year are different." Right? Our world changes, and so what is needed changes. And so how is it that we are going to help you with that? And so before we can talk about that, we need to understand how is our world changing. So our world is changing in many ways. The first big thing that is happening is about user experience, right? It is about any device, anytime, anywhere, in context. The user wants to get their job done. The user wants to do what they want to do quickly, very effectively. And by the way, for those of us who've been around the block a few times, this is a very different skill set. Building front-end user experiences is a different skill set and a different mindset than building phenomenal business logic and making it work well. So this is a new challenge for many of us. This is a new challenge for many of our organizations who have not fully understood this. The part that is driving this is consumers. Consumer software is driving this whole user experience trend in a very, very rapid way, and people are expecting the same from their business systems as well. And of course, while they're expecting that, the backend itself is also changing. And the way the backend is changing is everything is becoming a service. Right? It's all about the services that you can build. It's about the APIs that those services are exposed through. These are isolated, compartmentalized, so that one service change doesn't impact something else. They're composable. You can put services together to build complex systems. They're scalable. You can deploy them horizontally, et cetera, et cetera. Tremendous benefit, cloud first, services. And so that's what business logic is for new business applications is, and that's how new business applications are being created. And then they, of course, talk to those wonderful adaptive front ends. But there's another interesting thing happening. We also have a lot of existing systems. And so the question becomes, how do you bring them along? And what is happening there is that even those are being encapsulated as services and being brought to the world of the cloud, right? Sometimes they're getting broken up into smaller services. One of the analysts calls them macroservices, mini-services, and microservices. To me, they're fundamentally services. They may be a different size. They may provide different capability. But that's what they are, right? Now, this whole front-end change, the back-end change is itself phenomenal. It's big. You have to have teams working on both sides who are, in some ways, different in their skills and abilities. But in addition to that, you also are seeing that the entire world is getting connected. Right? This isn't just data connection. Data connections are, of course, important. It is about legacy data and systems of record data and analytics data and business applications that are in the cloud and data from them, business applications that are on-prem and data from them. But in addition to that, it is sensor data and IoT data, and it is data that is coming from all over. So because everything is getting connected, because the whole world is getting connected, the amount of data is just absolutely exploding. And business applications have to deal with leveraging that to make sense out of it and make businesses successful, make users successful, make users do their job better, right? And if all of this weren't hard enough on its own, we're being asked to deliver it all faster. We're all being asked to deliver it cheaper with less resources. And we're being asked to deliver actually more things. Right? Agile and lean have become the terminology for people who don't understand agile or lean. Right? People like me. Your business people stand up and say, we should be agile and lean. Right? But really, I mean, it is changing the mindset. Expectations are different. The rate at which change is taking place is dramatically greater. And so businesses need to change faster than they've ever changed. And none of this, by the way, takes away the mission-critical requirements that we have, right? Security, compliance, always on, always available, highly performant, fault-tolerant, you name it, right? Internet scale, right? It's absolutely mind-boggling what is expected from our systems. It is amazingly mind-boggling and complex as to the level of capabilities that are expected from business systems today compared to even 10 years ago, right? So you have beautiful front ends, you have great phenomenal back ends, you have this phenomenal requirement around scale and security and compliance and governance and so on, and you have to do it quicker, faster, cheaper. But even that, in my opinion, is not enough. Where the world is going is to make these business applications smart, to make them intelligent. Right? After all, the amount of data today is so large and is only growing exponentially by the day that no human being can actually comprehend it. No human being can figure out and make heads or tails out of it. And so what we need is something that can actually help us with this. And with the abundance of data, with phenomenally large amounts of compute resources available today, more than ever before, and with the advances in machine learning algorithms and AI, we believe that machine learning and AI capabilities are essential in our modern business applications, the applications of tomorrow. And we call all this the collective experience that these would deliver, and the collective solution, the collective new apps, we term them cognitive-first apps. So I know that even before, right, most of us are done with going through the cloud-first and mobile-first movement and transition, we now must start thinking cognitive-first. And our vision is very simply that the future of business applications is cognitive-first, and we at Progress will be the providers of the best platform to build and deploy them. That's what we want to do. Now, how do we go about tackling this? Right? So again, modern problems need modern solutions. Right? You need an architecture that is different. You need an architecture that actually allows for decoupled application development on the front end and the back end, yet tight collaboration between the front end and the back end. You need solutions that provide connectivity to all types of data. You need a set of cloud services that are cognitive, that can do the kind of things modern applications need to be done. By the way, all of you know, in software, anybody can do anything themselves from the ground up. That's the beauty of software. But the whole purpose of existence of Progress is to make it easy for you to do it so that you don't have to build everything from the ground up. Right? And so that we can make all the pieces and parts that are applicable to broad industries, that provide the various building blocks to make your job easier, to make the job easier for your organization. That is the entire purpose of our existence. And so at Progress, we're addressing this today through a set of offerings. When it comes to adaptive user experiences, we have offerings for not just web applications, but also native mobile apps. We also have offerings today, and very recently launched, for chat capabilities, and more emerging new technologies are being worked in our labs. I want to focus in my keynote on the stuff that is available today. For those of you who are really interested in the cool stuff that we're working on tomorrow, Dimitri, our CTO, is having his keynote, and he'll talk about the stuff that's going on in Progress Labs as well. But we're doing phenomenal stuff on adaptive user experiences. We also have built a very amazing set of offerings within our cognitive cloud platform, starting with a world-best cloud serverless platform, which we acquired through the acquisition of Kinvey last year and have integrated into the product portfolio. Our goal, by the way, is not just to offer you individual solutions, but to make sure that they work with each other. So not only do you have best of class, best of breed offering for any capability you want, not only will it be open, and is it open to work with other things, but if you use multiple things from Progress, they will work well together. That is the promise. And we are working very hard, and we have been working very hard to make that happen. We also acquired a company last year called Data RPM, which has given us the world's best predictive analytics capabilities. And we're applying that first to the manufacturing and industrial sector, or actually any sector that has machine-generated data. Right? If you have machine-generated data, that technology does a phenomenal job of predicting issues with those machines, analyzing the solution, analyzing the data automatically, and helping you build a solution that can make that equipment work well. Our rules engine and rules as a service has been around a long time, and it continues to do really well. Corticon has been a great product, and we've integrated Corticon with Data RPM, with OpenEdge, and with our front-end tooling so that you can actually use all of these seamlessly and make it easy for you to again, build very sophisticated, intelligent, smart systems that have business rules in them. We talked about experience. A big part of experience is content. Sitefinity for content as a service, and our digital experience cloud, which is about delivering an engaging experience, are two key parts of our cloud offering as well. And then last but not least, on our serverless cloud side is, of course, OpenEdge itself. Right? It is the mission-critical platform for business applications that all of you have in this room today. And of course, all of this has to connect to stuff. And when it comes to data connectivity, I don't know of anybody on the planet that can offer better solutions than Progress. DataDirect is used by every large software company even you can imagine, right? Whether it is a Microsoft or an SAP or an Oracle or an IBM or Adobe or Microfocus or Informatica or on and on and on, SAS, et cetera, right? Every one of them, OEMs are technology. And it enables them to connect to data that is not only from their own databases, but from anybody else's databases, anybody else's business applications. So this is what we offer. And instead of going through each and every product, which is what very often I do. What I want to do is I actually would like to show you how these products can help build something innovative. Right? So I'm going to set a scenario. I'm going to pretend for the next little bit that I'm the business head at a manufacturing company called Acme Inc. Right? And we need to run our manufacturing plants better. And what we want to do for that is to have a field service application that our technicians use to fix and repair things quickly. So this needs to be mobile. The person goes up to a machine. They need to have access to information there. It needs to be real-time data, real-time alerts. If work is scheduled, they need to find out, hey, you're supposed to go do this. That's your next thing to do. And in fact, it has to be intelligent. It has to be able to predict problems in my plant before they happen so that I don't have a business impact that might be impending. And actually, if I correct it, then I avoid that business impact. So that's what we're going to try to build and show you. And to help me get started, I'm going to bring up Jen Looper, who's part of our front-end development team, to help me show how we can build a great front end. Welcome, Jen.
Thank you.
So Jen, how do we get started building a front end?
OK, I'm here representing the front-end developer team. So I'm going to go ahead and use Kendo UI Builder to quickly scaffold an Angular web app. And you're going to notice that I can start adding modules right away. So I can take my main module, and I can start creating a view. I'm going to take a data grid, give it a name, and I'm going to go ahead and start adding columns. Now, it's interesting to note that with a tool like this, sometimes the code behind it is a little bit spaghetti-ish, or it's just completely abstracted away from you, so you can't have access to it. But in our case, we can take a look, go ahead and drill right into the code, take this image, and I'm going to give it a little bit of style. I'm going to make it a little bit wider so that my web app starts to look great from the get-go, which you're going to see as soon as I hit save, I hit preview, and look, we're almost done. It's amazing.
So we have a web app. How about mobile?
All right, for mobile, my very favorite. So here I'm going to go ahead and leverage another great tool called NativeScript Sidekick. So you notice that we used Angular on the web, but we're going to also use Angular for mobile. And the reason for that is so that we can share code between the two platforms. So you're going to notice that I'm creating this app for Acme, and it's going to open up these local emulators, and you're going to see changes going live as I build. So, and it's also interesting to note that I have people on my team who use Windows, and they don't have access to these kind of local builds. But they can go ahead and just click Cloud Build and start building in the cloud and get these apps moving really quickly. So in my case, I prefer to use Visual Studio Code as my IDE of choice. So I'm going to go ahead and just click into this action bar. I'm going to change the color of the action bar from this gorgeous blue to black. And as I'm saving, save, then you can see these emulators just start making changes in real time. So it's a really great way to remain productive as you work. So here I'm going to change the tab titles. So for iOS, it's at the bottom, and Android is at the top. And you can go ahead and make changes, and everything is live. You're extremely productive.
That's amazing. Does this mean that people have to use JavaScript?
You don't actually have to use JavaScript. So all of our tools play nicely with other tools like .NET. All of our SDKs are able to play nicely with all the others. So that's great.
That's great. So now, how do we tie this to some mock data so I can actually do some testing?
Right. So as a front-end developer, I'm not extremely ecstatic about building and scaffolding up my entire cloud infrastructure by hand. This is not something that gets me up in the morning, so thank God I have Convey. So I can go ahead and open up Convey. The serverless cloud allows users to very quickly spin up a backend for their app. They can easily populate it with sample data to be used on the backend. So with just one click, just one, you have an app backend to manage identity, user access, data, business logic, engagement, and more. So here I'm going to create a work orders collection and save it. And I'm going to take this JSON file and import it right here. Just drag it right on in. And this is just going to give me some sample data that I can use on the front end so that I can start making the front end look as awesome as I want it to look. So this is kind of exciting. So here we are. And we're going to be able to see that there is going to be some flames. Shoot, thank God it's just sample data, right? Because there's a big problem on the front end. But The cool thing is you saw what I did something very cool, but what is actually cool is what you didn't see me do, which is spin up an entire infrastructure or configure a bunch of cloud services by hand. So we can go ahead and jump ahead a couple of days and show how much farther we got in building this kind of beautiful, polished app. I'm really proud. So this is like very exciting, like big issue on the pipeline.
So are those apps actually mobile? Sorry, actually native?
They are mobile apps and they're native. So they're terrific. So with the magic of NativeScript, this wonderful runtime that we've created, you have a shared code between web and mobile, and you have the native performance and the native experience that your users are hoping for. So this is really exciting, and I'm so pleased to have scaffolded up this wonderful experience in just a few days.
Well, thank you so much, Jen. Ladies and gentlemen, Jen Looper.
Thanks.
So you know, our products help all types of organizations deliver great user experiences. And what I wanted to do is to have one of our customers come up and share their success stories. So Tom Stein, who is the operations manager and senior IT lead at NASA, please welcome Tom Stein. How are you, Tom?
Doing great.
Okay, great. So Tom, you know, you're at NASA, cool stuff. You know, you guys send stuff to space. What's the importance of user experience for NASA?
The user experience is critical. What we have really seen a transformation is in getting data out to the user community as fast as we can. And the user experience helps do that. With missions going on, high-profile missions like the Curiosity rover, you have hundreds of people on the team that see the data right away. But NASA has made a concerted effort to get the data out faster. In this case, in less than 2 years, the number of science publications that were peer-reviewed and put out in the literature were exceeded by, you know, the ones done by the science team. In less than 2 years, more papers were being published by the general public and scientists outside the team.
Because they had access to the data.
Because they had access to the data.
Wow.
And that's critical. And so helping the users find the data is the #1 goal.
That's great. And so how are Progress products tools helping you?
The tools help us build that front end with minimal resources. And the two things that we can count on are tools that are frameworks that are not going to have breaking changes with every release. And then the customer support that we get, which is fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
They have well, I mean, I'm not being paid, but seriously. I have a question, and I want to, you know, customize control. I go online. This happened a couple of years ago. I went onto the forum. I was searching for a solution, and I found somebody who asked the exact same question. And I thought, well, at least somebody's been here before. And it was me. It was my question from years before. But knowing that I can get that support and a consistent experience with the tools is critical.
That's great. Tom, thank you so much. Really appreciate your using Progress products. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Stein. You know, it's great when products are actually helping you, right? As a developer at heart, you know, you build stuff, but then you wonder, you know, whether it'll actually be used and be helpful to somebody. So thank you. But let's talk now a little bit beyond the front end and moving to the back end, right? We built this wonderful front end app. Now, what I need to do, or what my business needs to do, is to connect to real-time data, right? It has to connect to the real data that we have in our systems of record. We have to make sure that it is secure and authenticated, that it integrates with our internal security systems, that it is highly performant and reliable, and so on, right? And so we need a real solid back-end logic business system in the cloud, right? Cloud native, to support all those wonderful mobile front end that Jen built. And so to help me with the cloud services, I'd like to bring up Kurt Monnier. Kurt is our head of customer solutions and success.
Morning, Yogesh.
Good. Welcome. So, you know, Jen and her team built this wonderful front end, right? And we have a whole bunch of products that help with the cloud side. So how do we go about using them to build the back end?
Yeah, so let's turn that beautiful prototype into a real live working application. And to do that as a backend developer, I'm going to log into Convey, the same backend that Jen spun up earlier. And the first thing that you'll notice is because of our collaboration tools, even if we're developers that don't really want to talk to each other, we can seamlessly work together on this application. There's the Acme backend that she created before, as well as some other apps that I had access to in our organization. And as a backend developer, I'm going to spend a lot of time in the service catalog here. So we want to actually tie into OpenEdge and pull in that work order data for our field service app. And to do that, I'm going to create a new, what we call rapid data service. Rapid is a set of no-code connectors that we have to about 75 or so different backends, whether it's SAP, Salesforce, or in this case, OpenEdge. We can get at OpenEdge through Data Direct as well, which is what I'm going to do in this case. And you can see here with configuration only, I'm able to put in some parameters and put in some connection parameters, choose what scope I want for the service, if I want to make it available to every app in our organization or just this one. And without any code, I'm able to connect into this backend.
Wow. So not a single line of code?
No code in this case. If you do want to write code, we have tools for that as well. We have something called a Flex SDK and Flex Service Runtime that allow low-code integrations into literally any backend that you want in a completely serverless way using any NPM module.
Wow. So what about access control?
Yeah, so I also, as the backend developer, I might not want to give my front-end team access to everything. You know, those front-end developers aren't always trustworthy. So in this case, I don't want to give them access to deletes, but I can select every other operation and control what they're able to do with the data. I'm also able to, with configuration only, go and map this data, right? I can transform it here, again, without writing any code, change the name of some of the fields coming back into what that front-end app is expecting, maybe add a new field there at the bottom.
That is great. So, you know, you mentioned that people can actually write code and use create their own Flex connectors. How hard then is it to switch between those?
Well, it's really easy. So here I'm actually going into that app that Jen created earlier, and she had sample data mocked up behind this collection, but I'm able to go in and with the flip of a switch really point it now to our OpenEdge data that I just set up, and I can go to the API console and test it out and check out performance.
Wow, okay. So what about performance?
Yeah, well, this performed pretty well, right? It took probably about 1.5 seconds or so for this data to return. But some backends aren't that fast, right? SAP, for example, notoriously slow for supporting mobile applications. And we can actually accelerate that and make it sub-second response times, which I'm going to do right now. So I'm able to go into the collection and with the click of a button, turn on cloud caching, which is going to create a cache of that data for all of our users. So the first request now that I make back to the service took just as long as before, but now every subsequent request that I make is served up in sub-second response time, giving us a better user experience.
Wow, so highly performant, connected to all kinds of data, right? What about authentication? I'm going to log in, right?
Yeah, we have to log into our apps. Security is important. And just like with our data connectors, we have no-code connectors to virtually any enterprise authentication source. In this case, we actually had our Active Directory for Acme, which we use in all of our apps, already set up. So I'm able to simply select that as our default from our service catalog, and my apps are going to be good to go.
So, you know, you've made all these changes to the back end. How do I now go about having to change the front end to make it all work with the front ends that Jen's team built?
Yeah, well, so with many back end platforms, you would actually have to rewrite a bunch of the front end code in order to pull in all these changes that we made on the back end. With us, that's not the case. What you're seeing here is the exact same front end application that Jen showed you earlier as a prototype. And because of the abstraction layer that Convey is providing in the middle, we're actually able to use that exact same code. The front-end developer doesn't need to worry about any of that stuff on the back end, right? They don't know how to connect to Active Directory. A front-end developer, you know, they don't want to know how to integrate with OpenEdge. They didn't have to, right? All they know is that they're calling the endpoint in Convey. Convey is now integrated with their data. And so you can see behind me the live data from OpenEdge being pulled into this app with Active Directory authentication.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I would strongly encourage you to go check out these products in our expo floor and see for yourself. You know, you think, wow, you know, none of this looks real. This is too quick, too fast, too easy. Please, I encourage you to check them out yourself. By the way, so the question again is, are people using this, right? And to share their success with their journey to the cloud and mobile from a back-end perspective, I'd like to bring up two customers. First, Raj Sadasivan, who is the Chief Digital Architect at Schneider Electric, as well as Chris Weaver, Director of Development at Infor. Ladies and gentlemen, Raj and Chris. Welcome, Raj. Welcome, Chris. So Raj, you're responsible for digital experiences at Schneider Electric. And what were some of the challenges that you were facing when you got there, and how has Progress Convey helped you with your success?
Sure. I think what do I need to say after what Kurt showed us, right? So he showed us everything. So we are using exactly the same thing what we are doing in Schneider. So it's about, for me, it's about two things. One is flexibility, and second is speed. So I'll explain. So Schneider, our business is complex. So we are in 100 countries. We have 8 to 12 routes to market. So we are close to like 800 partner journeys or customer journeys.
Wow.
So if we don't have Progress Convey, then we will be thinking of 800 apps. I wouldn't say 800, that'll be a push, but it'll be more than one app. So now with Convey, we are able to do one super app. At least we can dream now, right? So that gives us a lot of flexibility, right? So enabling backend. So to me, you can create a mobile app, as you said, and the front end is easy, but to integrate with the backend, with the legacy data, is always challenging. And Progress Convey helps us do that. And which is, I'm a dreamer, which allows me to dream. And like, as you said earlier, like Einstein said, 100 years ago, the same question every year. Now it's like every month I have to answer, right? So which allows me to do that. Convey allows me to do that. So it's exciting, it's every month, and I'm sure next year it'll be every week, right? So it keeps changing.
Actually, Raj has a session tomorrow morning here where you can hear more about how you're, changing things at Schneider Electric. So thank you for being up here. And Chris, share with me Infor's journey. Infor and Progress have been partners for a very, very long time.
Absolutely.
You've been an OpenEdge user. You're one of the largest manufacturing software companies in the world. Mm-hmm. How has your journey to the cloud gone? And
right, so up until 3 years ago, we were an on-prem legacy OpenEdge-based application, and we leveraged the multi-tenancy support of the OpenEdge database to really get us into the cloud and follow the strict mandates of Infor's policies to make sure that we conform to what is defined as multi-tenancy. And we accomplished that with a minimal code rewrite. So it wasn't just a scrap and replace everything that we've done. That gave us the ability to not only get into the cloud, but also do it so in a consolidated environment where we can host hundreds of customers, or tenants in this case, on a single database stack.
Wow.
Additionally, we leveraged the PaaS-OE to expose our, again, legacy business logic as a REST-based endpoints. And that allowed us to rapidly have our web-based user interface communicate to those APIs and interact. And as well as also our third-party integrations. We expose those for communication with the APIs as well. It's all REST-based, JSON messaging, and again, allowed us to get into the cloud rapidly.
Wow, it's really impressive. People talk about, cloud enabling an existing business applications. You guys have actually walked that journey and are delivering at scale and have hundreds of customers using it. It is truly phenomenal. I know that Jeffrey Brown has a session this afternoon to talk more about it. For those of you who are interested. Thank you, Raj. Thank you, Chris. Really appreciate it.
Great.
Thank you. So of course, you build this stuff, but you got to run it, right? And by running it efficiently, again, we're talking about, right, security and compliance, automation, monitoring, right? Governance, all the kind of things that the new term is DevOps, right? The team does that basically makes sure that things are running well and are safe and secure and reliable. And one of the big things that actually the transition to the cloud creates is that the complexity of trying to do this gets that much harder because you've got front-end stuff, you've got back-end stuff, you've got things connected to other stuff. It is not that easy. And so one of the most challenging things is security and compliance. And one of the things that we have done at Progress, leveraging the Convey platform, is that we've come up with something called the Progress Health Cloud. And the Progress Health Cloud is something that is security certified for healthcare industry. As you know, healthcare is one of the few industries that has regulatory requirements and compliance requirements. There are very few others like it, maybe finance, right? That basically have tremendously stringent requirements. And as time goes on, these type of requirements are going to pop up across every part of our business. And so instead of me talking about what we can do with Convey and our Progress Health Cloud, what I'd like to do is invite up here Pam Hudson. Pam is the CIO at Canopy Health, and she's going to share with us her story. Welcome, Pam. So Pam, tell me a little bit about how the Progress Health Cloud has helped address some of the challenges you faced when you got to Canopy, and what are you doing with it?
So when we started this journey about 700 days ago, because we're only 2 years old come July 1st, we looked at companies that could provide us with a cloud-based platform, as well as tools to speed our development in a secured environment. In healthcare, compliance is our regulatory foundation, and the fact that we were going to store and expose personal health information, the paramount for security was high. So we looked at the Convey platform, which is now Progress Health Cloud, and it actually ticked all the boxes of what we were looking for a secured platform from a technology standpoint, from a physical standpoint, from an administrative standpoint, with all of the rules to look at and monitoring the environment for breaches. So it was a great marriage between our need for speed and development as well as a secure platform. It also hit the HIPAA compliance, which is one of the regulatory requirements we need to have. And last but not least, there's a roadmap to go to what we call high trust for HIPAA, which is the highest level of security certification. At the lunch break, I'm going to try to find JITQ to see where you're all at with that achievement.
That's great. And you're mentioning that, I think earlier when we were talking, that actually you, of course, found this technology that checked off the boxes. But given that you are in the business where HIPAA certification and security is so critical, how did you verify?
So I think we used the motto, trust but verify. So when we finished the first round of the mobile app prototype, we actually brought in an outside firm called Optiv, which many of you probably know, well known in the security environment. And they actually did a whole series of penetration tests, and we passed with flying colors. And I think if Kathy Farmer is out there, she's our director for digital presence for Canopy Health, she can attest to that.
Wow. So Pam, that's a great success. I look forward to hearing more about how your journey evolves with UC San Francisco and helping healthcare in all of San Francisco Bay Area.
Great,
so,
thank you.
Thank you, Pam. So the last piece, right? We built a nice app. It looks great. It works wonderful, performs well, connects to real data. But how do we add cognitive capabilities to it, right? Because in the end, as I said, that is going to dramatically change the way we all do our work. We will have systems helping us, right? And so in our case, coming back to Acme, right? I would like the app to not only provide the field service people help and tell them what to do or what the next work order is and so on, but actually I'd like it to leverage on the back-end side data that we are gathering from our machines and equipment and predict problems before they happen so that we actually prevent any negative business impact, right? And so to make our app, help make our app cognitive, I'd like to bring up Seth Page, who is the head of partner development at Cognitive Capability. So Seth, we have this wonderful field service app, right? It was built by Jen and her team on the front end. Kurt did his magic on the back end, right? How do we take this and make it cognitive?
Well, the first thing you have is all of these connected assets out there that are kicking off tons of sensor data. So you want to be able to load that data in, analyze that data, and then detect anomalies and make predictions on which assets are going to fail when, where, and how. From there, you can actually take proactive steps to actually stop that from happening and save money and reduce your downtime.
Great. So can you show us how?
Yeah, with my magic finger here, we'll log in. which is obviously always has to happen. The key thing here is you have to add your data source first. So in this case, we're going to use OpenEdge. It could be through any data direct connector. It could also be through a CSV file, right? That allows us to pull in all the information we need. And then it's going to walk us through a data science workflow. And this is something typically data scientists spend weeks on. We just did it in less than a minute. It's very simple to do. We automate it for you. Now we're going through to make sure that the data is actually valid, that it's actually tested, the structure's right, the format's right. And now we're mapping the attributes. The attributes are automatically extracted from these huge data sets. You double check the maps, you go ahead and run it, and then suddenly you have hundreds of different assets and all of their connected sensor data that's coming in and sometimes in the millisecond or even sub-millisecond levels, and they're being checked for which ones are anomalistic and which ones are actually running well. And then it pulls it up into a time frame type of, maybe you call it a newsfeed type of structure, which is a lot easier for the average IT or OT person to read, and show you which are the most important anomalies that it's detecting so that you can actually take a look at them and see which ones might end up being failures 4 or 5 days down the line.
So to do all this, my data science team, how much Python they had to write, or how much code they had to write, or what was needed to make this actually happen?
Zero. So the beautiful thing here is we made an interface that helps empower the data scientists you have, but if you have people who are data savvy but don't necessarily have that PhD, they can go into this interface, they can drill down, they can slice and dice, they can see things in a GUI visual format that's very clean and friendly, and they can see which anomalies are the most important, highest rated ones. And in this case, you see one here. You actually see what the expected behavior is, and you see the spikes in the anomalistic behavior, and it's telling you that something's going on in this machine, and you should take a look at it.
So now that we've sort of built and taken the data, analyzed it, figured out, built the models, so to speak, right? Mm-hmm. These machine learned models now have to actually be applied in an operational setting. How does that work?
Yeah, so in this case, we actually have a interface here, which is built on Kendo UI. So it's showing all of the factories in green. That's today. We jump ahead 3 days, and it tells us in 3 days, we're predicting that 2 of your factories are going to be at risk. Not 100% risk, maybe 92% risk. It's showing you here in factory 2 exactly which of the production lines, right? In this case, the crankshaft assembly line and the engine assembly line are at risk, and they're going to actually cause something to happen. And it then goes through and shows you the specific piece of machine that it's predicting is going to fail in 3 days' time. And then it shows you the impact analysis. If that machine is allowed to fail, how is it going to actually impact your business?
That's interesting. So we then figure out the impact analysis, and based on that impact, we can potentially pick which thing to fix first?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're going to do is, based on that impact analysis, we look at a specific batch, in this case, the first batch that's failing. It shows us the amount of money that's at risk, which we care about, our CFO, and we can actually then put in a description. And this is going right back to the last app we were using that we had built on Kinvey, right? And it's taking that and it's allowing you to raise a trouble ticket, which is going through a Corticon rules engine and determining, hey, who do I send this to? And in this case, it actually creates a maintenance ticket, which is going to pop up on someone, probably in this case their iPhone or their iPad or maybe their hardened PC out in the field. And there it is right there. It popped up, it looks like on an iPhone.
So we went from taking the prediction to now having an alert for the field service person.
Absolutely, and it's actually passing the information along from the trouble ticket that was created, showing the piece of equipment that's specific, in this case a diesel generator, that is overloaded. And the technician may or not be familiar with this piece of equipment. If they're not, they can pull up Native Chat, which is an AI-driven bot, if you will, chatbot, and they can ask questions in just plain text English, with natural language processing. In this case, they're trying to debug what's going on, and as all of us would know, it all comes down to those mysterious error codes that none of us know how to interpret. But the AI bot has access to the MRO database, the maintenance and records and operations, and can tell you that the internal temperature is approaching a dangerous peak, and it's operating at max load, and you need to add a second generator.
Interesting. So we have something that actually not only tells the field service person they ought to do something, but even helps them figure out what.
Absolutely, and then a new generator is ordered. It may take a couple days or a couple weeks, but eventually when it comes in, it gets installed, it goes through testing, and the ticketing system will automatically take that into account. And then as the new data flows in with the 2 generators working at an optimal capacity, you'll start to see the two production lines come online in green as opposed to red, and you'll start to see the impact analysis then even out and showing you, hey, you actually lost a lot less money than you thought because that scheduled maintenance was a lot cheaper than unplanned downtime.
Great. Thank you very much, Seth.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Now, many of you think that, applying machine learning is too far out in the future. Of course, on the consumer side, it's already moving very, very rapidly, right? We have got autonomous cars. You've got, systems that we talk to that talk back to us, things like Alexa and Google Home and Siri and so on. But you'll be amazed how many companies actually are working on this problem today, right? And one such organization is TVH. TVH is a $2 billion industrial company. And to help me share his story, I would like to bring up Kalman Tiboldi, who is the Chief Business Innovation Officer at TVH. Kalman.
Nice to see you.
So Kalman, TVH is a phenomenal business. You manufacture equipment, you sell, lease, service it. You also manufacture parts. How is your business changing? Are you an industrial company today? Do you continue to be an industrial company tomorrow?
So TVH is indeed with its two divisions. So we have a TVH Parts, one side offering services, products and services worldwide for material handling, industrial equipment, and agriculture as well. Another side, we have the TVH Rental, TVH Equipment, where we own one of the largest rental fleet in the world of those equipment. And what we are really seeing is that more and more technology, intelligence is built in the machine. So technology, it means sensing technology, processing technology, and communication technology, making those equipment smart. So we are confronted every day with the smart equipment. So what smart equipment, smart machines are doing, producing data. And we have decided indeed at TVH to build a new business model, digital business model, a new digital company around this machine-generated data. So actually, this is what we are trying to do to capture, process, and analyze, and one of the major domains being predictive maintenance. So predictive maintenance is really analyzing and defining patterns where you can actually forecast what will happen and avoid failures, avoid downtime, increasing operational cost, operational efficiency and reducing cost, and finally offering a better customer experience for our customers. And definitely predictive maintenance require advanced analytics, data analytics, machine learning, cognitive elements, and all real-time analytics, and all those actually where we are looking to the progress technologies like data RPM, like Corticom, because event-based, rule-based, all those elements we are facing, and really those technologies not only are helping us to build this new digital business model.
Kalman, it's interesting. You have a whole 20-minute session after the break. So folks, after the break, come back here and hear Kalman's full story. Thank you so much, Kalman. Pleasure.
Thank you.
So again, after the break, Kalman, Pam, and Tom are going to do sessions on what is going on with their parts of the world in a much more greater detail. So by the way, I want to emphasize something that I know quite often when we do keynotes, we like to show flashy stuff. We like to show stuff that is futuristic. I want to point out everything that you've seen is available today. Everything that you've seen, you can actually go see at our show floor. Everything that you've seen, Progress folks can help you look at them, figure out whether they make sense to help you be more successful as you try to build out these wonderful modern business applications. So, we're all doing a lot of stuff in our own business organizations. We help our employees, which help our employees, which sometimes help our partners and customers and so on. But I want to take a few moments and talk about some examples of people who are trying to change the world to be a better place in ways beyond that. Right? And one wonderful example of that is someone who you've already met, our own Jen Looper. So Jen, by the way, realized, just like we all do, right? If you look around in this room, you can see this, that when it comes to building business apps and business experiences, our industry has a very small representation of women. And Jen realized that she wanted to do something on her own about this. Right? This was not something that Progress said, hey, you should go do. And so she decided to change that world. And so she has founded a non-profit global organization called View Vixens. I'm really proud to have Jen on the Progress team and leading that effort. It is enabling and getting women involved in making wonderful applications and websites. And it is a global organization with members around the globe. They run skulks, as they call them. I guess it has to go with the Fox theme, the Vixen theme. And there's actually one, I believe, tomorrow afternoon. And so you know, by the way, I don't know how many of you know this. Some of you who've been around a while know this. The very first employee and the head of engineering at Progress was Mary C.K., a woman. And so, you know, to me, Progress, we have been at the leading edge of this. And to me, it's amazing that somebody decides to do this on their own. So ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for what Jen is doing. An example of a customer of ours who's trying to preserve the most precious commodity we have on this planet, right? Water. Colorado Division of Water Resources has used our technologies, and what they've built is a solution that brings together all kinds of people that are involved with either the production of, the transportation of, the movement of, and the usage of water in the state of Colorado. And this is phenomenal. You know, they've involved people like farmers, they've involved people who run wells, and everybody in between, and making sure that water is used very effectively and efficiently is something that we all need to do. I mean, you know, it's interesting, we all take water for granted, but it wasn't that long ago that Cape Town in South Africa, right, went through a significant challenge drought, right, just a few months ago. So around the globe, this is a huge problem. And one state at a time, I hope that we can make this better for the whole planet. Lastly, I want to talk about an inspiring young man, Äôll Oliver. So Äôll is the founder of Hello Tractor. Now, instead of my talking about Hello Tractor, what I'd like you to do is watch his video.
Nigeria has one of the largest inventories of uncultivated farmland on earth. The majority of the poor earn their income on the farm, so I knew that's where I needed to meet them. Farmers don't have the labor they need or the machinery to fully cultivate this land. So if farmers have access to a tractor, that's as good as owning one. This is why I started Hello Tractor. We began developing a low-cost, user-friendly, technology-enabled tractor. When farmers need tractor services, they simply send a text message. We connect that request for tractor service with the nearest smart tractor operator, and in a short period of time, the smart tractor arrives and provides a service that's 40 times more efficient and 1/3 the cost of manual labor. You can think of it like Uber for tractors. We designed a mobile app that allows smart tractor owners to view their machines remotely. They can assign operators to tractors, and they can see a full record of what their smart tractor did in the field. Ultimately, we're creating a model that can scale and sustain itself and reach, in my estimation, the entire continent.
You know, quick update. Just this month, the government of Nigeria, in a public-private partnership, announced that they're going to bring 10,000 John Deere tractors into the country over the next 5 years, 2,000 per year. Each of these tractors is being enabled and fitted with Hello Tractor technology before it even arrives. The impact is expected to have is supposed to influence the lives of hundreds of thousands of farmers, and over 22 million acres of land is going to be now mechanically worked on as opposed to people working on it by hand. Who said you can't even tackle world hunger if you put your mind to it, right? It is absolutely phenomenal what Äôll is trying to do. And it's inspiration to people even like me who basically think we've done all right in life, that we really potentially could have done a whole lot more. So in closing, technology is changing tremendously rapidly. And that trend is only going to continue to accelerate. The future, however, is tremendously exciting. And as software shapes every aspect of our life and the rest of the world, what we want to do and what we want to be a part of is to help you be successful with it. So come be a part of the journey with us as we go forward and build phenomenal business applications and experiences, and we go about changing the world ourselves. Thank you very much.